Welcome back, friends. Today is day 56 of my journal. And today is a continuation of my series on emotions. And I wanted to talk about disappointment and opportunity. I think a lot of times when we think of disappointment, we think of what we lack. But more so, I think we think about the times where we had a chance to act, but we didn't. Rarely, sometimes, but rarely, we regret things that we didn't do. And those hurt much more because we don't have an answer to the question. We don't have the answer to the question of what if? What if I would have worked harder? What if I would have chose a different career that I actually wanted to do? What if I talked to that girl and she actually liked me and we went out? You have no idea what the answer is. It's a future that you'll never see because you didn't make the choice. And most of the time, at least personally, when I regret something, it's because I didn't take action because of fear. Not because it was a dumb idea, not because it wasn't something that could have a good payoff. It was because I was afraid of trying, and I was afraid, more so, of failing. And I think about that a lot, of where I want to go in life and what I want to be. I think when the universe closes a door, they typically open a couple more. And I think that if you're willing to work hard, you can get through anything and you will figure something out. There's opportunities out in front of you. But most of the time it looks like really hard work. And that's because it is really hard work. There's a lot of money to be made in this world. There's a lot of friendships that you can have. There's a lot of love you can spread. But all of it requires work. And the older I get and the more successful I get, and the more I reach for more success, I realize that that is the truth. If you want to be somewhere you're not, you've got to work harder, and you've got to work different than what you're doing right now. And when you start along the path that will place you in the direction where you can get what you want to get and be where you want to be, you have to stick to the process, but that's very difficult. It's very difficult if you don't allow yourself to see that you're just along a journey, going for the destination ahead. It's really hard when you set a goal and you have big aspirations, but you don't know how to get there. The best way that I've found is to find others who have done it. And not everyone has the luxury to meet them in person. But if you can see and follow people online that are a little bit ahead of you, just 1 or 2 steps, if you can find people around you or on the internet that are just a couple of steps ahead of you, you will be able to learn so much from them because they're just the next step ahead of you. So they have already figured out what doesn't work for where you're at right now, and they can save you a lot of time. The problem with meeting and taking mentorship from people that have already become successful is a lot of them will forget what it took. They will forget the process that they went ahead with to gain that success. If you talk to a rich person, they'll tell you about the hard work, yes, but they'll tell you the importance of work-life balance. And they'll tell you how important it is to have a morning routine. But if you get them talking long enough and they're reminded of what it was like to be 20 and they were working 3 jobs trying to make as much money as they could to put together their startup on the weekends, they'll tell you that they didn't care about any of that. They were focused on the one thing that they wanted to achieve and would do anything to get there. That's very different than a work-life balance. So if you want the success that you see, you got to figure out how they actually got it. And then you got to figure out if it's worth it to get it, and if you are willing to work to get it. Because if you're not, you don't have to be. Success is different for every single person. It's not a monetary amount. It's not a level of prestige. It's different for all of us. So don't go chasing someone else's dream when it's not your own. Figure out what you want to do and what you're willing to risk, what you're willing to put forth, what you're willing to compromise on to have the life you want. And then choose that life, one that you can live. This is harder with a family, I understand. So do what you have to, but to take care of your family. But when you have extra time, put it towards your goals, put it towards the life you want to live. And eventually you'll be much closer to that lifestyle than the one you're living right now. It can get better. I'm rambling a lot today, but I just met with one of my mentors and I got him talking about the past. And he told me so much of the hard work that went into building what he created and the life he lives now, what it took. And it was a lot of hard work. And he hates hard work, but he wanted the luxury of wealth. That's what he wanted. He wanted him and his wife to be comfortable, and they are. So he sacrificed his younger years in some ways to be able to get that now. He's retired at 45. He gets to play golf all the time. He doesn't want to get to that next level. He doesn't want the private jet. He doesn't want the fancy cars. He wants comfort. So he doesn't keep pushing for more. That's honorable. He's living the life he wants to live. I'd advise you to take time to figure out what that is for you. It won't be the same for me. And I'm going through that right now, figuring out what I want to do with my life, who I want to be, the direction I'm going, what I want to pursue. So I want you to think about that as well. What you're willing to sacrifice, what you're willing to give up, and what you want your day-to-day life to look like. And make sacrifices towards that. I think you'll get further than you think you can. But you have to try. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.